Welcome to the name game. Workout number 209 is cow tails. 4 time with a 20-minute cap. Complete 50 kettlebell hang snatches, 70 for males, 53 for females. 15 chest to bar pull-ups. 30 dumbbell bench press, 50 pounds for males per hand, 35 pounds per hand for females. 15 chest to bar pull-ups. 30 dumbbell bench press, 15 chest to bar pull-up, and then 50 kettlebell goblet step-ups, 70/53 to a 24/20 inch box. I'm so distressed right now. And we're off. This is Ferdy. Chris, I'll let you intro him.
This is Ferdy Augusta. He trains out on the West Coast in the San Francisco area. Local, I think, to one of your clients, right, Ben?
Yeah. Alex Garcia owns a gym in San Francisco, and they at least know of each other. So, yeah, it'll be cool. Maybe we try to sync some sessions up at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Ferdy works out of a couple gyms. I think 2 of them.
Alex helps around too. I think there's probably a bunch. I mean, obviously it's San Francisco, so there's probably a bunch, but
you said Alex owns one?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's interesting that he coaches at other ones.
Well, I don't know if he coaches there. I think he drops in. Based on what his training demands, because sometimes if it's it's a squeeze sometimes to fit a 25-foot length in. So depending on what he's doing or who he's training with, he'll pop in somewhere else. Okay,
got it. I'm pretty sure Ferdy works, I think, I could be slightly wrong here, I think he works and coaches at 2 different locations, I believe. But yeah, Ferdy got started with me a couple weeks ago. He was in an interesting spot where he was training for a triathlon. So he had gone probably about 6+ weeks without doing any CrossFit training. So normally we test people, but he's going through kind of an initial training phase where we're operating a lot on RPE and kind of just getting him back to Olympic weightlifting movements. And he's gotten back into it. Literally for him, it's okay, clearly this is like riding a bike. He's right back into the swing of things. So Ben was like, hey, you want to throw this workout at Ferdy? And I was like, sure, why not? I literally was looking at his program, and I'm like, yeah, he could do it tomorrow. And literally threw it into the very next day.
Classic. Yeah. I feel like athletes have to be a good sport about this because, one, obviously, we critique what they're doing, but then also, at some point, they might have to redo it if it comes up when they're actually, testing it for real.
Right.
He probably won't redo it because this one's releasing fairly quickly, tight turnaround, but, it is, I often use it as, that exposure of, a test-retest for athletes, where it's okay, you did it the first time. Can you, assess your strategy and figure out a better plan for, a turnaround in a couple of weeks, which should be plenty of time to improve because a lot of people can do it, in a day or 2 later and improve. So it's you're fully recovered. As long as you remember what you actually did wrong the first time, you should be able to improve on it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So this is Cowtails. Starts off with 50 hang snatch.
One of the notes
I was going to say, did he have any notes for this?
Yeah, so one of the notes he said was on the hang snatch. So, he said the surprising note for him was he didn't realize he could even kettlebell snatch 70 pounds in high reps. He's like, I don't think I ever snatched 70 pounds with a kettlebell. So that was okay, well, you can do that now, so that's good.
Good to have that in the back pocket.
That's right. So he did 5 reps per arm and switch. He had to take a little bit of a rest between some of these sets because it is heavy for him. But he moved it pretty well. I mean, it does look heavy as he's moving it, but not to the point where it's oh dear God, please don't move. You have no business moving that kettlebell, right? It's more just okay, this is heavy.
It just looks like it's taxing, not that it's every rep is a death.
Right.
Barbell cycling is very similar to even a heavy kettlebell or a heavy dumbbell, where it's I've watched training back of my own training, and I'm I know how I felt doing this, and I was dying inside and suffocating and just feeling absolutely awful. And then you look at it and the bar's moving good. It doesn't look like anything's it doesn't look like I'm even in distress, but it what's going on internally is completely different from that.
I'm so distressed.
I'm so distressed right now. But yes, I mean, I feel like coming out of like triathlon training, and Dave can probably relate to this too. It's like if you do like something higher in, like if this was like a 20-minute like double under a row wall ball, he'd probably be just fine. But it's like when you start getting into like really strong contractions where like you get a lot more anaerobic activity, then it's like it catches up with you way quicker because your tolerance isn't there for those type of movements.
Yeah, and I'm curious too, did he make any note regarding like triceps or anything after doing all of the dumbbell bench after doing the hang snatches followed by a ton of dumbbell bench?
He actually said the upper body push and pull was totally fine.
Okay.
Now he's someone who, as an athlete, gymnastics and upper body stuff is a strength of his. So like, I had him just touch on some pulling movements. I was like, hey, this was like maybe week 1. I was like, do 30 pull-ups, 20 chest to bars, and 10 bar muscle-ups. Like, do them in very small sets just so I could see what they look like. And he did every set unbroken. Like having not done any of those movements in 6+ weeks. You know, he was able to do a set of 20 strict handstand push-ups unbroken, no problem. We recently tested his 50 for time, and he was sub 3. And so it's one of those things where it's like that he's just good at that stuff. And so I think he retained a decent amount of it.
Yeah, it's so funny how like the stuff that you're good at, like you could take a break from it, and you'll like Chris. You always use the example of like I think it's Joe who was squatting, and it's like he doesn't touch the bar for how long, and he comes back and he can hit like 95% without any issue at all. Oh my gosh!
Right.
He almost just hit his head on the wall. Actually, I think he hits his toes a couple of times on the wall as he's dragging him up there. But it's funny how
I wonder where he's doing this workout. That can't be a CrossFit gym per se then.
I mean, I don't see a machine in sight, so it's like there's a good chance it is.
Well, dude, he's 5'6", so it's like if he's hitting his toes on the wall, like everyone is. Anyways, I'm not going to take shots.
Usually, like commercial gyms have like those pink kettlebells, like colored like that. So maybe
so
like
a crunch fitness.
functional fitness area.
Yes, the functional fitness area in some commercial gym somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ben, what were you saying?
Yeah, it's just funny how like, okay, you took some time off, you come back, and it's like the stuff that you're already good at, you retain a lot of your qualities with that. But if it was like something that doesn't come naturally, it's even more of a slog to get back into it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Ferdy is very similar to probably Chris and I, where it's like the bodyweight stuff would come back pretty quickly. Like, okay, we might not have been training, but we can still do big sets of toe to bar and chest to bar and all that kind of stuff. Where it's like, you go to get under a heavy squat and it's like, oh my gosh, like my nervous system is like, I don't remember how to do this anymore.
It's like where you unrack it, and then you're like, what the heck? You re-rack it and have to like check the sides to make sure like you have the weights on, right? Like, are we sure that's 225?
Front squats are especially that way for me. I unrack it, I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this so heavy? I got to squat with this?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is kind of an interesting workout format. I was the one who wrote it. I originally wrote it as like essentially like a buy-in of 50 reps into 2 rounds of chest to bar and dumbbell bench, and then 50 step-ups as the like kind of a buyout. And then I adopted it a little bit just to make it honestly a little bit less confusing. I don't know if that worked though, because Ferdy still messed it up a little bit.
Yeah, he did 15 bench reps each time, and he
versus
gave me
30
feedback. Yes.
So that's a big difference.
Well, actually, now that you say that, Day, that might be why he was like,
yeah.
the upper body stuff was
because
not
it was all
hard.
good.
Half the
Yeah.
pressing reps.
Yeah. But he was like, oh my gosh, I read it wrong. I was like, yeah, that's all right, though. We'll still use it.
Another thing that I think, I'm not counting his reps here exactly, so I don't know for sure, but we're going to do this like a handstand push-up standard where it's top to top for the dumbbell bench. So, in other words, when you kick back, if you have them down by your chest and you press up in your first rep, that's 0.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to start in lockout, lower down, and back up, and then that's 1. So in other words, get in the habit of propping them up on your knees, rocking back up into lockout, and then lowering down for that first rep. So again, handstand push-up is the best example. You can't start in a tripod and kick your way up. You have to start in lockout. So, and then same thing for, so that was like what they used in like regionals, I believe, for the dumbbell bench for regionals Linda. So that's why we're going to use that, is because that's already a standard that exists and is held up pretty well over time. And then additionally, you have to touch one head of the dumbbells to your torso at some place. So you can play with it a little bit where you might tilt the dumbbells into your chest a little bit, or, you know, if you're a double D, you might have to cut down that range of motion a bit. But I'm only like a B right now, so I'm not as much of an advantage. Shout out Susan at the gym. She always tells me that I need a bra.
That's hilarious.
It was very true like 2 months ago. Double unders, they'll get you.
Well, you were a thick boy a couple months ago.
Yeah, yes, I was. I don't know if it's just the pull-up bar, but he's got a little bit of like that D-shaped kip where you almost like fall out of the top in his chest bar. That could just be because he can't really pull through as effectively.
Yeah, I want to say it's kind of pull-up bar related.
You can almost tell he's like pulling his feet back so they don't smack the wall.
Yeah. Because I've seen him again. I'm still new with him, but I've seen him do some pulling reps and they look really smooth. And you're right; they don't look bad, but it looks like it's almost like when you're running and you feel like someone's like right next to you. Like it's just like, I know something's right there and I don't like that it's there type deal. Like I feel like that's kind of how he's performing these reps.
Have you ever like rode in like a relatively tight space and you feel like you're gonna hit your head against the wall, but you're you're actually not, but you're like, it's so close that I feel like I might.
Yes.
It just like messes with your mind.
Now this is what he said was the by far the toughest part of the workout for him was the step-ups.
Yeah, but he's also on like for a CrossFit athlete, relatively shorter end of the spectrum, right?
Yes. Yeah, so he's 5'6".
How tall he is? Okay, 5'6".
5'6". And so now he's stepping onto a 24-inch box. Like that's a long way
it's like doing a pistol almost.
Yeah, exactly, with a weight.
Yes. Yeah.
Cuz Day, how tall are you?
I'm 5'2" and 3/4.
Ooh.
And 3/4.
Yes.
So like he's a little bit taller than you, but imagine you having to do weighted step-ups onto a 24-inch box.
Right. That's not pleasant.
I mean, you can see it. It's like if he was 6 foot, his like femur would be like parallel with the ground.
Right.
He's way deep in the bottom of the squat.
Chest.
Yes. It is truly like if you were to do a back squat, that's the position what it looks like in the bottom of the back squat.
Yep.
The one thing, and Sam actually, I saw him do this in his training, and I think it works well. If I'm giving someone like accessories of like step-ups, I want them to use that top leg the whole way up and like try to not use the other leg at all. But what you can do, especially if it's a heavier step-up where you're not moving through the reps as quickly, or if it's like taxing, like Ferdy could have implemented this, would have been like you get the one foot on the box and then you basically hold almost like an isometric as you bring the other foot on top, and then you stand up with both feet. So it's like you go from like that quarter squat position, you bring the other foot up, and then you stand up with 2 legs.
Yeah, it looks like he does that on some reps, but not in the sense of like holding an isometric. Like it's almost like, oh dear God, please get the second leg in here. You know, it's like.
But you can make it a little bit more intentional, and you can get a little bit.
For sure.
It'll save your legs as well. Again, especially if this is like really heavy for you.
Right.
I don't know if it almost looks like, I'm sure the step up is hard, and this was intentional with the design of the workout, it does look like the upper body component of the goblet is weighing on him.
Yeah, well, kind of what some people don't realize is when you have to hold a goblet for a while, like it just pulls on like your shoulders and your thoracic, your biceps get tired. You know, it's like there is an element of that too. And he did make a note that breathing got hard, but I think it's not because like, how do I say this? Like aerobically it was hard, but it's like you're contracting and pushing so hard that it's like your breath rate and heart rate get super high.
Yeah, it's like, you know, doing it's like doing front squats in a workout almost.
Right, exactly.
Nicely done, Ferdy.
Thanks for watching today. Be sure to share this workout and take it on with some friends. If you want to learn more about how to optimize your performance for the sport of CrossFit, or if you're interested in hiring one of our coaches, head over to zorfitness.com. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. Best of luck on the workout, and as always, stay the course.